Good morning, kids. I am so excited that you're with us today as we are beginning a new unit. And I know you're probably thinking that I always say that I'm always so excited for you to be with us and to see what God has for us. But it's true. Each week as I open the scriptures and look at what God has for us and how He's going to teach us through the lessons ahead, I truly get so excited. And today is no different. Today's lesson can be found in all four Gospels, and it picks up with being time to celebrate the Passover. And in case you don't know what the Passover is or have forgotten, the Passover was a special time to remember how God had freed His people from slavery in Egypt. And many of the Israelites traveled to Jerusalem during this time to celebrate and remember God's amazing rescue. Jesus and His disciples were among those traveling. And as they neared Bethany, Jesus sent two of His disciples ahead to the village to bring a young donkey back to Him, which I'm sure they thought was a bit odd, but they obeyed. And when they got there and found this young donkey, the owners asked what they were doing. And they responded just as Jesus had instructed them, in saying that the Lord needs it. And when they arrived back to Jesus with the donkey, they threw their robes on the donkey, and Jesus got on it. And as He rode down the road, people threw their robes on the road, and others spread out palm branches. Now I want to pause right there before I continue and point out Zechariah 9:9. It says, "Rejoice greatly, daughter of Zion. Shout, daughter of Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." Right here in the story, just before I paused, we see the disciples going to get a donkey, and then we see Jesus riding on this donkey. And Zechariah spoke about this long before it actually happened. What we're looking at here in the Gospels fulfills Zechariah's prophecy, which, remember, a prophecy is a message inspired by God about something that's going to happen in the future, kind of like a promise. So God gave Zechariah this message about a king riding on a donkey, and we're seeing it fulfilled here in the passage. And the people witnessing it were aware of this prophecy. So Jesus was riding, and the crowd began praising God, saying, "Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest heaven." Hosanna means save us. So the people believed when they saw Jesus riding the donkey that He was a king and that He was the promised Messiah. But they thought and expected Him to overthrow the Romans, and they were focused on earthly power. But Jesus was sending a different message. The passage continues as Jesus goes to the temple the next day. While there, He healed the blind and the lame, declaring that He was not just an earthly king they were looking for, but He was their God. At this, the priests and the scribes heard the children in the temple worshiping Jesus as king, and they asked Jesus if He heard them. Jesus responds in quoting Psalm 8:2, which the leaders were familiar with, and further confirmed Jesus as the Messiah. In this moment, Jesus gladly received their praise because He was worthy of their praise. The people may have worshiped Jesus because they thought He would defeat the Romans and give the promised land back to God's people. But Jesus had come to become an even better kind of king for them. His kingdom is a heavenly kingdom, and He is our heavenly King. Jesus came to earth, lived a sinless life, died on the cross, and rose again, defeating sin and death. And those who have faith in Him are forgiven. And one day He will return again and set up His eternal kingdom where we will live forever with God. And oh, how we look forward to that day. For the next few weeks, if we were in person, I would be asking you the big picture question each week, asking you to think how it connects to the story and how the story helps you answer it. The big picture question for this unit is, what did Jesus do to save us? So as you watch the Bible story this morning and talk about it with your families after, think about that question. Think about, how does this story show me what Jesus did to save us? I hope you enjoy watching the Bible story this morning. You guys have an awesome week, and I will see you on here next time.
It was time to celebrate Passover, a special time to remember how God had freed His people from slavery in Egypt. Many Israelites had traveled to Jerusalem to celebrate God's amazing rescue. Jesus and His disciples were among the people who traveled to Jerusalem. When they neared Bethphage and Bethany near the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent two of His disciples ahead into a village. "As soon as you enter the village," Jesus told them, "you will find a young donkey tied there. No one has ever sat on it. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' say, 'The Lord needs it.'" The disciples did as Jesus asked. As they untied the donkey, Its owners asked why. "The Lord needs it," they said. Then they brought the donkey to Jesus, threw their robes onto the donkey, and helped Jesus get onto it. People spread their robes along the road for Jesus, and others spread palm branches cut from the fields. The whole crowd praised God with a loud voice for all the miracles they had seen. "Hosanna," they said. "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest heaven." The word Hosanna means saved now. The people welcomed Jesus as their promised king. They hoped he would save them from the Romans. Some religious leaders asked Jesus to tell his disciples to be quiet. Jesus answered, "If they did not praise me, the rocks would praise me." While Jesus was in the temple complex, people who were blind and people who were lame came to him. Jesus healed them. The blind and lame would not have been allowed to worship in the temple. Other religious leaders saw Jesus' miracle and heard the children saying, "Hosanna to the Son of David." They were very angry and asked Jesus, "Do you hear what these children are saying?" They were saying Jesus is the king. "Yes," Jesus told them. The writer of the Psalms had said, "You have prepared praise from the mouths of children and nursing infants." Jesus left them and went to the town of Bethany to spend the night. During Jesus' triumphal entry, the people welcomed him as king. Jesus was the Messiah spoken about by the prophet Zechariah. "Look, your king is coming to you. He is righteous and victorious, humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." One day, Jesus will return to earth on a white horse as king over everything.